What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another Squawk with Swoop. You might remember Justin from a Zoom call that we did before the final started, maybe?
I reckon it was before the Geelong game.
Fuck, that was ages ago. Yeah, so, okay, bro, before that Geelong game. And now we're back together talking about the Pies. Haven't seen him since the grand final, or even before the grand final, but we were all there, Justin. Thank you for having me in your humble abode.
Now it's good to be back. Good to be back on the channel, and good to be chatting after grand final win.
Yeah. So, Otis, what do you want?
You run that from the top again.
Yeah, go. So this is Otis. Welcome, Otis's debut on the channel. You see my boys Clark and Lex. This is Otis, another big, huge Collingwood fan.
Massive Pies fan.
So yeah, tell me about your experience grand final day and sort of what happened there.
Oh man, it was an unreal day, and I'm already starting to forget bits and pieces. But I went along with my mum. We had no problems getting tickets. It was a great day. We were sitting on the Great Southern Stand, 5 rows back on the wing, and was a bit nervous. I think like everyone else, it was a very long week. But once the game got started, I mean, I was still nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it was just so good. It was such a perfect day, such a perfect grand final, and a perfect way to cap off what has been some of the most entertaining and engaging seasons of footy, ever.
Yeah, and you were telling me before we started recording as well. You know, obviously you went to the drawn grand final, the grand final. You went to 2011 as well. So you've seen a bunch of heartbreak. So tell me, as soon as Charlie Cameron kicks that goal, 5.5 minutes left or 4.5, whatever it was. How was that?
Yeah, I was feeling like not again. You know, we've seen this before, and my heart did sink a bit because, all week I was trying to keep positive, and Mum was pretty stressed out, and I just wanted to be positive and enjoy it. And then, when they hit the front with 5 minutes left, you just think, oh, not again. Like, I can't handle another loss here with Mum. But I didn't need to feel that way for very long because 30 seconds later we scored and
incredible.
We're jumping out of our seats.
And that was at the goal. That was at the goalie goal. That was just pure elation. You said that the side bottom goal was your favourite goal of the day, but what did that Jordan De Goey goal mean? Especially because, like you said, it was literally that next set of bounce. It was just a straight reply, and something that we've seen Collingwood do for the last 2 years.
Mate, it's just this never say die attitude. And again, that's what makes this final so special, because in the context of the last 2 seasons, as entertaining as it's been, it's just how we've won. It's how we've kept going. Never say die, keep fighting, instant reply, and then, the crowd goes nuts, and any momentum that Brisbane got in that Charlie Cameron goal is just gone.
Gone, yeah.
And then the side bottom one was my favourite because I think, the skill in the De Goey goal was unreal, but I don't think anyone could believe that side bottom was going to kick that goal.
Yeah.
And I think I did my hammy. Like, I jumped out of my seat and turned around. I had my hands out in the air, and I was just staring dead into the into the eyes of the guy behind me, and we just hugged each other. But that's it. That's grand finals, and that's why wins like this are so good. You just connect with so many different people. But we just hugged each other. We just couldn't believe it. We're jumping up and down, and it was so good.
And that's like you said, that's the beauty of grand finals, finals wins. Obviously, a lot more special than just a home and away season win, or the Essendon goal after the Sirens is sort of different. That sort of elation. But yeah, grand final when we won, obviously there was no sort of. It went down to the wire. There was no sort of like, oh, here we go, 20, we're 20 points up, 3 minutes to go, we can chill out. There was none of that and that's just, and like you said, it's just the Collingwood way for the last 2 years. It would be off script if we had won this game by 30, 40 points, or we had lost the game by 30, 40 points.
Oh, I think this was perfect. Like, I don't know. I remember talking to my sister, who's a Carlton fan, at the start of the season, and she was saying, would you rather lose by a close margin or lose by 10 goals?
Yeah.
And I said, I'd rather lose by a close margin because then your position is justified, right? You deserve to be there. I think I'd rather win by a close margin as well in grannies because it was just the tension was there right until the end.
Yeah.
And there is something for getting to 3/4 time or half time and knowing that you've got it sewn up and you can just kick back and relax. Yeah. But the tension was there to the last minute, and to get over the line, everyone was just elated. And I mean, the nervous tension throughout the game was so funny as well. I mean, I went to the toilets at half time and the Collingwood chant was being sung in the men's toilet. It was so funny. And there was just all this nervous banter, nervous tension. And that's what you get at a Collingwood grand final. That's what you get when it's close. And it's just, it's a unique experience. And like you said, it's fitting. It's fitting for the last 2 years.
The script. And we sort of touched on it before, again, off air when we were having a sort of chat and a bite to eat. How, you turned around, you hugged the guy behind you, and I did the same. If you see it on my vlog as well, I was hugging people behind me, and I was with Dad and stuff. And we touched on how and I see it a lot through social media and Swoop and stuff, and everyone has a different, unique story on why this premiership means so much to them. Like, I had a guy message me the other day, his dad just passed away on the eve of finals, big Collingwood fan, and that's what, they used to watch the games together, and it means so much to him that we won because of that. Everyone has that sort of unique story. You obviously shared it with your mum, and you said you saw it throughout work and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so much fun this week, is talking to all these different Collingwood supporters and hearing the journey to this point and their unique stories. And I think it's so special to hear that, but also we're all connected by this win, and we're all just so happy, and we're all just loving each other, and that's just so special and so unique at the moment. But yeah, for me, it's my mum. I mean, she's been taking me to the footy since I was 8 years old, and took me to Vic Park and all the family days, and so for me and her to be at the grand final together and to get that win together was just super special. But yeah, I hugged the guy behind me first because my mum took off at the siren. I was...
Yeah, you messaged me that. You're like, mum took off, so I had to hug the guy behind me.
There was like, I mean, everyone's a timekeeper in the last, 30 seconds. So we knew the siren was about to go, and mum's like getting ready to go out of her seat, and I'm grabbing her. And she just took off. And so the siren went, she was down the front. So I turned around and, again, looked this guy dead in the eyes. He had tears in his eyes, and we just grabbed each other, and, that's just so good. And eventually I caught up with Mum. But it's so special. I mean, everyone's got their unique journey, and I'm grateful that I got to experience it with Mum. And like I said, I was chatting with my cousin's husband after the game, who's a Saints fan, and he was saying that he was just so jealous of us. He was happy for us, but all he wants is to be able to watch a grand final with his dad, who's a Saints fan, and so that really put it into perspective how lucky we are as well. And I think it's just so fun to be able to enjoy it with the people that we love, and enjoy it with strangers who are equally happy, and that's what it's all about.
No, 100%. And we've talked about how this kind of stamps us as, it stamps what Craig McRae, Lepich, Bolton, Skipworth, all these coaches, Jeff Brown and his crew, just the team in general, that you can be a good home and away team, like Melbourne were last year, really good home and away team, and obviously they went out in straight sets last year and this year as well. But you can be a good home and away team, and then, but everyone sort of forgets about that.
Yeah.
And now we've kind of put that stamp of authority on two great years, and we touched on the Essendon game, Adelaide, Geelong twice this season, Carlton at the start of the season. It's and then it's a really good final series for us.
It's been two of the best seasons ever. I can't think of any other team, any other Collingwood season that comes close to 2022 or 2023. I mean, we were chatting about this. Name some iconic home and away games from 2010, 2011, 2018. You can't. I mean, 2002. I think there was the game that we beat Brisbane by 3 points.
Yeah.
and then the finals were good. But yeah, 2022, 2023 has it all. And I think we're honestly so spoiled as Collingwood supporters for what's happened these last 2 seasons. Hands down, these 2 seasons will be remembered as the best seasons. And last year was like Rocky 1 and this season was like Rocky 2. Spoiler alert if you're haven't
I
seen
love
Rocky
that.
1,
I love that. I never thought about it like that, but that's exactly what it is.
In a couple of years, we'll be up against the Russians.
Yeah, Jesus. Next year, hopefully. Look, you're right. It's just, it solidifies us as a really, like, we know we're a really good football side with what we were able to do, going down to the Premiers last year by 6 points, and then obviously Sydney by a point, and then flipping that script. We were talking about how Melbourne were stacked. Great,
Yeah.
best team on paper, best midfield, etc.
Yeah.
We beat them. GWS were the most informed team, and we knocked them over by a point. And then obviously Brisbane, and you were talking about it before, how a lot of media pundits was like, how are they going to stop their attack? How are they let them score 100 and all this sort of stuff when we lost to them twice already this season. It just felt, even though like we finished minor premiers and obviously top of the ladder and 18 wins or however many we had, 21 by the end of the season, but it still felt like it was backs to the wall, even though we kind of went in as favourites, but I still sort of felt that.
We were weirdly underrated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just the media like drumming up the suspense. I mean, I don't know. It was weird, yeah. So we weren't going to beat Melbourne. GWS were knocking over everyone, and like you said, they were in form. And then how were we going to beat Brisbane? Yeah, it was strange that we were so underrated, but it kind of suited us. It suits our gameplay. It suits where we're coming from, and it suits the narrative of the last 2 years. Like, we weren't making the finals this year, and last year we weren't going to make the finals.
Yeah.
But we just kept backing up, and we stuck to our guns, and everyone was riding us off towards the end of the home and away season.
Yep. And look where we are now.
It didn't faze us. It didn't faze us, and I wonder if they did do that mini pre-season, because we closed out all of those games.
Yeah.
And how many goals did we kick from red time in the grand final?
Well, I think so. DeGoey and Sidebottom's gone in the last quarter were red time. Jack Crisp and DeGoey at the end of the first and the second quarter.
I think it was
probably a chunk of our goals were in that sort of red time
compared to
zone.
whatever Brisbane scored, which I think was only 1 or 2 goals. We were running games out.
Yeah.
Pendlebury played pretty much the whole fourth quarter, and you would have heard what he said on that podcast.
Yeah. So when he said, in that after Charlie Cameron kicked that goal, if you haven't heard it on the Jock and Journo, Nick Dacos was about to run out of the centre square, and Pendles pulled him in and said, "Mate, do you not want to be a part of this?" And then Nick Dacos gets that quick handball to Pendlebury, obviously that kick, then the Nick Dacos handball to Jordan to go for that goal. And we talked about how Pendles is that sort of leader on field. He was doing his own rotations in that last quarter. I think, what was it, like 11 disposals, a couple of clearances, contested possessions. It was his best quarter for the whole year.
Well, he effectively played the whole quarter, and another thing he says in that podcast is that he had been training with the high performance coach to be able to play a full last quarter by the end of September.
Yep.
And whether this comes back to the high loads thing that was being talked about when we last spoke.
Yeah, yeah.
But we ran the games out, and not only did we run them out, but we ran them out tactically better than other teams.
Yeah, 100%. And I remember around that time. So that was when we dropped the game to Brisbane, beat. I don't remember which order it was, but we ended up losing to Carlton, losing to Hawthorn, beating Geelong, dropping the game to Brisbane, then obviously that Essendon game. And after we lost those 2 games, I remember on my reviews of the games, I was like, I think, I said, and I'll say it again, it was lots of credit to Carlton, lots of credit to Hawthorn for what they were able to do to us. We didn't look at our best. They sort of pipped us at the right time because it was coming to the end of September. We had top 2 sewn up, virtually top 1 sewn up by the time we beat Geelong. And there was rumours that there was a big heavy strain workload, high workload. And I remember so many fucking Carlton supporters on Twitter not adding me and stuff saying, oh, this guy thinks it's by design. What an idiot. Oh, if only they kicked more goals. Who's fucking kicking goals now? We won the fucking premiership, man. So if these guys are watching, and I haven't done this before, and I've waited so long, but if they're watching now, we won because we kicked more goals than Brisbane. We won because we did higher training loads, and we are the premiers. And you are crying into your Carlton memberships that you burnt after round 12 because you wanted Voss sacked. And I just needed to get that off my chest.
Oh, I could tell, bro.
It's mate.
Good.
Oh my god, that was burning me for a number of weeks. But we'll go back to the Pies now. And yeah, it's just like I said, it solidifies everything that we've done. And you know, we just had the Copeland. Josh Dacos had obviously won the Copeland. Had a really good season. Who was your player of the series, the final series? Sorry, it's a hard question.
I wasn't thinking about that. I don't know if it's any one player. Well, I think Jack Crisp won the award, right? And I think that's very well deserved. Mitchell had an unreal season. Finals campaign, sorry. Oh, who else?
Jordan De Goey was really
good, obviously, against GWS, and was super critical against the Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and I think that's the good thing, right? Like,
there wasn't just one player.
Yeah, it's the team, and that's why we've been so good these last 2 seasons. Like, we don't have massive standout players.
Yeah.
Our list is above average, but it's not the best.
Yep.
The team together. You know, McRae knows what he's doing. The coaches know what they're doing. You know, I think our whole midfield is exceptional. Our defence has been exceptional. So I mean, pick anyone from there. Like, you know, yeah, I can't single out many more players than that. What do you think?
I'm probably in the same boat. It's kind of like, you know, I know we hate people hate throwing this word around, but it is kind of like Moneyball, how we've sort of, you know, Billy Frampton comes in after not playing any finals, after not playing since that Geelong game where Darcy Moore sort of does his hamstring, and to come in, do a bit of a number on Harris Andrews, premiership player. Darcy Cameron sort of gets traded from Sydney for a 3rd round pick or something crazy. It was Ned Guy's lasting legacy. You know, unfortunately, Dan McStay, Bobby Hill as well. So all these players, but yeah, I think Crisp and De Goey really shined this final series. But it wasn't Crisp and De Goey since the Melbourne game. It was someone else in the Melbourne game. Then it was De Goey in the GWS game.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it was Crisp.
Right.
So it was nice to have that sort of that rotation, and you're not relying just on a Petrarca or just on a Sam Walsh to have a good sort of game. You've got everyone sort of doing their own bit.
And I think I said before that I believe that we were underrated at different times, and I think McRae and his coaching and the coaching team were also underrated.
Yep. We
outcoached Brisbane.
Yep, 100%.
Murphy gets injured. You got Frampton on Andrews in the goal square,
Yeah.
And Brisbane didn't make aggressive enough changes to capitalise on those mistakes. And I mean, you look at the Melbourne game as well, and the GWS game, we outcoached our opponents.
Yeah, we did.
As well as outplayed them. So I don't think that has gotten enough credit. I don't think McRae has gotten enough credit in those departments.
Yeah, no, 100%. We talked about how Murphy comes off it was in the first quarter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you just go, shit, like, Murphy is one of those guys where we know what Murphy does, right? He gets concussed because he's always fighting for the ball, always trying to do his own sort of thing. And you lose that third, because he's a tall bastard, Murphy. So you sort of lose that guy flying in. Jeremy Howe has to sort of play a different position. Lipinski's on the bench. He comes on and then shuts down Coleman in the second half. But you're right, like the Harris Andrews, Billy Frampton thing, maybe Brisbane should have moved Harris Andrews off Billy Frampton.
You know what I mean? How's Garden not just minding Frampton and then move Harris Andrews up the ground
do what he does? Yeah, and they did it too late. They did it in the fourth quarter, and it kind of reminded me of 2011, where was it
Pods
when we didn't. Pods went down, And then Ben Reid was injured throughout that whole final series in their grand final. And we left Reid on Hawkins,
Hawkins
and didn't
played the game of his life,
move bloody Tarrant onto Hawkins. And that's sort of what it reminded me of. But to their detriment, and our just like, euphoric feeling of a grand final win.
But it also says how well our midfield did because, like losing Murphy, what that meant for our defence against that forward line.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, we're in trouble here. But, they hadn't taken a mark inside 50 until I don't know when.
Yeah, and Bobby Hill for the whole game took more marks in them inside 50 than Brisbane did.
So that says that we had a pretty clear plan, and it was executed, and our midfield was on top, so they weren't getting the balls in that they wanted.
Yeah,
and our defence did what it had to as well. Like, the fact that we won that and were able to largely control the game even without Murphy. It's just so impressive, and their midfield is stacked as well. And we were talking about that Degoe goal where each opponent in our midfield beat their direct opponent. Okay, Dunkley slipped, but Pendles gets the ball or Nick Dacos gets the ball and they take off and they beat their opponents. And Nick's already halfway down the field and Neil's chasing him. And it's like that play really typifies how we played throughout the whole final series and how we just beat our opponents. Beat one-on-ones, midfield beat the midfield, whatever. That play sums it all up for me.
It's and like McRae said, finals is just a second season. And whatever you did, you're just qualifying for finals. And
I fucking love McRae.
He's so good. Like he is, and he obviously was under Lee Matthews, 3 premierships. He was at Hawthorn for a little bit, and then Richmond. We forget he won a VFL premiership for Richmond. Markov was in that VFL premiership team, or maybe not the premiership, but he was in the team under McRae. Obviously, getting coached under Damien Hardwick, was at the Pies earlier on in his career as well. What he's been able to do, and it's not like we were 17th, right? We weren't a bad team. That we just happened to finish 17th. But what he's been able to do, and the guys that he's got around him, and who knows if that changes, with Lepic maybe going to the Doggies or whatever it is. So that might change. But for what he's been able to do with, what he's got, and getting the best, he was saying, I don't know if you heard, it was on SEN or something, Pendles, like the best out of what he has, Pendles in the last few weeks of the, so before the Giants game and stuff like that, and the Brisbane game, he was putting up PBs in the gym.
Yeah, I heard
at
that.
35 years or however old he is, he was
Bit
putting,
like you.
yeah, as you can tell, putting PBs up at 35 before a grand final, before a preliminary final.
Yeah,
and that's because they want to go that one step.
It's a sick attitude. I can't. The changing culture at the club can't be stated enough. And how that's driven the success. And actually, Graham Wright deserves a hell of a lot of credit.
100%.
Graham Wright,
insane.
I think, is the architect of a lot of this. And then that flows through to McRae, who Graham Wright got in. But it has been a big turnaround. I mean, they talk about the 2021 season being an outlier season, in that we were kind of there or thereabouts for a while. But it's still, to take the jump to the next level, that's a significant jump.
Yeah.
And it's just so good what McRae's been able to do. And I'm excited to see what happens in the next couple of years, the next season, because are we going to be playing the same way? Like, I don't really think we will be. I think we're going to have to keep evolving because the competition's catching up. I mean, GWS and Adelaide play very similar to
football.
and their season this season was much like our season last year. So we're just going to have to keep evolving, and I'm really interested to see what the club does, because now I firmly believe that McRae and the coaching staff are elite coaches, and tactically they're really on another level, and for the reasons I kind of spoke about before as well. So I'm excited to see what happens next, and we need to hang on to Lepic, and I hope we do, and I'm sure we will. But which players come in and how a different role is going to evolve, but how they've been able to get what they've gotten out of this team, which it isn't a bad team.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
I kind of like the fact that we don't have these amazing superstar level players. Everyone just plays their role. We saw that a lot last year where there were a lot of rotations. Like Bianco would come in or someone would come in and just play the role perfectly.
Yep.
And we just grind out wins. Or Ash Johnson comes in, he's kicking 4 goals
Yep.
and this and that. Like, our team is so much better than any individual, and I think like a club like Melbourne are very individual based.
Yeah.
And that's why
They are where they are.
they are where they are. And, they'll still be good and they're still going to do well and they're still going to compete for flags. But for us, it's all about that team. And it always has been. And I've always thought that in previous years, whether it's 2002 or whenever, it's always about our team. And Collingwood teams do well and are successful when the whole team is playing well.
Yeah.
That's what we've always been like. It's not about individuals.
No, 100% agree. And kind of what when you started just talking about that, getting better and stuff, it's like what McRae said, and he said it in the Copeland as well. He says, we're still not the best. We're getting better each day. It's that winners only mentality.
Yep.
And, I talked about Moneyball a little bit earlier, and, you're bringing on these players, Billy Frampton, Tom Mitchell, blah, 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 blah. And you're right. It's who do we bring in next to go to the next level? Taylor Adams might leave to go to Sydney. So you got Finn McRae that could jump up, Josh Carmichael that can jump up. Yeah. But are you looking at, they were looking at Goldstein, they were looking at someone else. Doherty. Yeah. They're looking at Doherty as a sort of Jeremy Howe replacement. Because the list isn't getting any younger. It's just who can we get? We've got a bit of money in the tank now. So, like you said, we don't get... Collingwood have never gotten a Ben King, a Jeremy Cameron. These big names don't come to the club, Tom Mitchell, sure, can be discussed as a sort of big name, but he was out of favour at Hawthorn. But, Billy Francis is now a premiership player. Bobby Hill's a premiership player. And it's just, unfortunately Dan McStay, but it's just who can we... It's all about topping up. You don't want to bottom out. Yeah. And I think, like you said, Graham Wright, he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, he's a winner. He's a winner as well, and I think that's very important. But yeah, we got a solid 44 players, and you can see how they've all contributed over the last couple of years, and players who have come in and gone out. Yeah, the Goldstein link was interesting. I thought that was maybe a bit off.
Yeah.
Doherty made sense, but I don't know who else we linked to at the moment.
No one. I was hearing maybe Ollie Wines a little bit. My favourite Brownlow medalist if he comes down to the club, but. I was hearing maybe...
Tom Mitchell's medalist.
But he might go to Essendon. So, yeah, there's not really anything solid, but you probably don't need anything sort of solid. These guys have been working for...
Yeah. I mean, and we've got good young players as well, so I'm keen to see how they're going to keep developing. And like I said before, I think more than anything, we need stability.
Yep.
And, all right, we top up a few players here and there, but stability is going to be key for us. And, yeah, we see where our game plan is going to evolve into next year.
Yeah.
Who knows what that's going to look like.
100%. So before I leave you, your last thoughts of just the 2023 season and obviously the culmination of the grand final.
I'm so happy. I'm so relaxed. I haven't been this relaxed in 24 months. I love how happy everyone is. I love the feeling at the moment and the sense of unity between the club and all the fans. It's just a really special moment, and I hope everyone is enjoying it as much as I am. And I know everyone is, and it's such a good time to be a Collingwood supporter, and I hope it keeps going, and I know it will. And I love everything about the club and everything that's happening at the moment, and I think we're in a really good place, and it's just so awesome to be a part of. And we'll see what 2024 looks like, but for the moment, we're going to keep enjoying this. Keep watching the grand final replays.
How many times have you watched it?
3.
Yeah, I'm about the same, 3 or 4. And the highlights.
You have to, because the first time you watch, when you're at the ground, there's so many things that you miss, and half the time you're shitting yourself. So you have to watch it through and just enjoy it and be relaxed. Although I still get nervous when Charlie Cameron kicks that goal. Yeah. Just like I get nervous when that ball bounces for Milne in the. That makes me a little bit sick.
Yeah.
That makes me
and he could have grabbed it. That it's still I know what happens, and it just hits you in the gut. You're like, he was so close to picking up that ball, and that was it.
I was speaking to someone in the week before the grand final who was thinking about going to the game, and I said, look, you can't go wrong. It's Collingwood grand final. it's going to be good. We don't play bad grand finals.
Yeah.
Whether we win or lose, we don't. So, and it's true. And 2010, which is what you're talking about, wasn't a bad grand final.
And yeah, neither was a bunch of the other ones that we've been in this century. But Justin, thank you so much again, mate. Appreciate it. Until next time, back to back, and we'll do this again. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. Until next time, double shackers. Super later.